Hey, it's Jazz and this is Wildlife Matters. Today, we're addressing a common misconception. Is it a turtle or is it a tortoise? Where are you going? People often get the two mixed up, and it's important that we know the differences between them, a comparison between the turt versus tort. So for their sake and ours, let's talk about the differences between the two species. But before we begin, I want to ask you guys to please support our YouTube page by subscribing to our channel, Wildlife Matters. And also, don't forget to like our Facebook page and follow our social media pages. Okay, so turtles and tortoises are both reptiles, and that's because tortoises are actually a kind of turtle. They both come from the same family where basically most turtles come from, and that's why they look very similar to other turtles. Turtles are reptiles that have been here for ages. They have hard shells which protect them from predators. So I have here with me an actual tortoise shell. Let's take a look at it and dissect what a shell is made of. So the top is called a carapace and the bottom is called a plastron. And basically, turtles have 60 bones in their shells, and all of those bones are covered by plates called scutes. Now, these scutes are made up of keratin, the same thing that our hair and nails are made up of. And it's very hard, so this serves as a protection against any potential predators. But not all turtles are actually covered in keratin scutes. In fact, the largest species of turtle actually has a shell that is covered in leather. Can you guess what it is? Right! The leatherback sea turtle, which is also an endangered species of turtle that you can find here in the Philippines. And it's threatened by hunting and ocean pollution. Another example of a turtle that doesn't have keratin covered shells is the soft-shell turtle, which is actually just covered in skin. So yeah, there are many types of turtles all over the world, but in general, turtles and tortoises have really hard shells covered in keratin. Okay, so now that we've established that tortoises are a kind of turtle, let's now learn how to differentiate a tortoise from other turtles. Alright, let's start with turtles. Again, like I said, there are different types of turtles. So for the purpose of this video, keep in mind that when I say turtles, I'm referring to turtles that are not tortoises. Capiche? Okay. So turtles spend most of their time in water. They are omnivores, which means they eat both meat and veggies. And they have webbed feet or flippers, which are of course suitable for water because they spend most of their time in water. You can usually tell the gender of a turtle by checking their plastron, or again, the bottom part of their shell. If the turtle has a smooth, flat shell, it's usually a female. If it has an indent, it's usually a male. But this doesn't apply to all turtles. And in a lot of species, females have shorter and skinnier tails while males have longer and fatter tails. Males also tend to have longer claws than females. And those are just some of the many factors used to determine their gender. Again, it varies per species. In the Philippines, we actually have a word for sea turtle, which is called pawikan. And that's because in our country, we are fortunate enough to have 5 species of sea turtles roaming around our oceans. Another example is this one, your typical pet turtle. This is a red-eared slider turtle. These are the ones that you commonly see as house pets, and you can get them from your local pet shops. Let's now move on to how you can tell whether a turtle is a tortoise. Tortoises spend most, if not all, of their time on land. One of the first things that you can look at is their feet. While turtles have webbed feet or flippers, tortoises have round, stumpy feet. You can see how it's walking now. You can go just walk. Yep. Especially on their hind legs or their legs on the back. Let me show it. You can see that they have really big, stumpy feet. And it's kind of similar to that of an elephant's feet. And you know why? Because one thing that tortoises and elephants actually have in common is they both walk on their toes. So it's kind of the same concept. Lack of information can be so deadly, especially for these poor creatures, because there have been instances wherein a tortoise was killed because a person thought it was a turtle and let it swim for a while. Remember that viral video of a girl rescuing a turtle?
Here's a little note to self: if anyone runs into a turtle, save it. Don't just leave it on the road. They're so cute. Turtle saving is a hobby.
So she threw it to the water, but actually it was a tortoise? Yikes. So please, don't let your tortoises swim. They'll drown underwater. Tortoises are mostly herbivorous, so that means they eat mostly vegetables and fruits. If you take a look at their shells, tortoises have round, dome-shaped like shells. And sometimes even have this thing called pyramiding, wherein the tortoise shell scutes, these ones, become protruded, unlike turtles whose shells are smooth and flatter. One of the general ways you can tell the gender of a tortoise is by looking at their tail end. For most species, males have a V-shaped notch, while females have a U-shaped one. But this again may not apply to all species. For a lot of species, males also have a more concave plastron, while females have flatter ones. It depends on the species of tortoise you're handling, but in general, these are some easy ways you can figure it out. So basically, the easiest way to remember the differences between a turt and a tort is by taking a look at how each characteristic functions. You see, if you come across one of these creatures, just remember that turt equals water and tort equals land. Like most animals, their bodies are adapted to the way that they live. So if you ever come across one of these creatures, just take a look at how it's formed. Webbed feet and flippers, definitely something that a sea creature would need, right? A flatter shell, again, definitely something that would help this creature swim through water easier. And this one being the exact opposite. Stumpy feet with claws, definitely something that you would see on a land creature. So it's just common sense. So basically, those are the differences between a turtle and a tortoise. There are many species of both turtles and tortoises that are facing extinction because of many reasons. But the bottom line is, we need them all for the important roles they play in the ecosystem. It's always great to keep ourselves educated because remember, every piece of wildlife matters.